Hey everybody, it's Murphy Gray Hunter. It is Monday morning, November 7th, and it is such a nice morning. Looky here. Look, it's raining. Look how hard it's raining. I love that. I love it because I don't have to get out. If I had to get out and do something or go to work or something like that, I would hate it. I do have to get out and go do an errand, but not until a little later. Anyway, so I finished putting my witchy room together because I had bought 2 shelves, and so I went ahead and put those together. I was so proud of myself. I didn't have any extra pieces left over after assembling something, because usually when I assemble something, I have pieces left over when there's not supposed to be pieces. So I was very proud of myself. But anyway, so I cleaned that up. Only thing I have not done is organize all of my herbs, and so I have them like in jars and stuff, and I want to organize them. Normally I have them organized where, like, in categories. Like if I'm going to do something dark, I have my darker stuff here, my general herbs in the middle, like what you would use, like, you know, for healing or protection or cleansing, you know, like the general ones that you can use for a variety of things. And then, I have them like in categories. It's just easy for me to find that way. I try doing it that way. Then I try to do it where I have like all of my flowers here, all of my, different particular herbs here. I had all of my, chili pepper ones and my devil's tails and blah 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 on this side. Like I kind of had it like that, but right now it's just a hot mess because I've been doing different spells and stuff, and so when I'm done I just put them back up there. And so last night when I was rearranging everything, I looked up there and I'm like, I really should rearrange all that before I do a video. So but I don't think I'm gonna wait to do that because I have several other ones in my drawer that I need to put in jars and label them and put them up, and I really don't feel like doing that today. Today I need to clean the classroom up a little bit. We have stuff everywhere in here, so I need to clean up the classroom and finish fixing up back here, because back here I had all of my witchy books, and I took all my witchy books and I put them in my witchy room. And so last night I was going up and down the stairs carrying, books up and down, up and down. I'm like, oh my gosh. So that was like really great exercise. Okay, so I know you guys have been waiting for some grandma stories, and so I told you they're a little kind of far out there, some of the stories that I have heard, and the stories that I've heard this from has been a collaboration of my mother, my aunts, cousins, just people who have known my grandmother. So they all come from different sources, not just like from one lunatic or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, and so, and I say lunatic because some of the stories are just kind of like, out there. But some of them I have seen. So I guess, the story of my grandmother is, she was 15 and my grandfather was 35 when they got married. And they had 15 children. I know, right? Like, whoo, 15 children. And one child died, but all the other ones lived. And out of those 15, it's just crazy because I don't really even know hardly any of them, like they all live in different parts, different parts of the United States. I mean, like some are in California, some are in Texas. I don't even know where all of them are. I can't even say that for sure. So I was looking for something. So anyway, yeah, there were 15 kids, and I said one died. And they lived on this, they lived in different parts of Texas. And I know that they lived in Seguin, Texas, and they lived in Yancey, and they lived in Lockhart, I don't know where else that they lived, but they had like a farm, and they farmed cotton. Now my grandpa is German, and my grandmother is Native American. She's Apache. And I found out that we're from the Lipan tribe. Just amazing. Anyway, so I think that, I don't really know all the story about the farm that they lived on. I just know bits and pieces. But I don't know how old my grandmother was or what caused this. But one of the stories I heard was that my grandmother was downstairs, outside in the farm, and she was doing stuff, and she got into a fight with my grandfather, and he like went crazy, and he went and got either an axe or a hammer or something blunt, and he hit my grandmother over the head with it, right? And then he hit her over the head, and then, of course, she collapsed, whatever. And then he thought that he had killed her. He went upstairs in the barn, and he shot himself right here in the center of the head, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, and so there's more to this story, but I really don't know enough of it to, be accurate. So I'm just kind of giving you, what I know. And I'm still trying to find out all what happened. But so yeah, I mean, I don't know, I guess during that time, it's like, well, it was just different times, So anyway, I remember when I would go see my grandmother, my grandfather, see, they had said that my grandfather had died from that gunshot, right? And so I remember later on, as a child, when we would go and visit my grandparents, I was so scared of my grandfather because right here he had the bullet wound, the hole in his head, and the skin had just kind of grown over it, right? But you could stick your finger in there, it was skin. It was almost like any navel, like you could see the hole that there's skin, you know what I mean? So you could stick your finger in there. And he would walk around and almost like a zombie, he'd walk around and just mumble stuff. You didn't know what he was saying. And he was always so dirty. His white t-shirt, I remember he had his white all his white t-shirt here was all black and dingy. It was a white t-shirt, but it was all black and dingy. He always wore this big old coat that was so dirty. It smelled so bad. His hair was never combed. He was never shaved. He was so unkept. And I was a kid, and he would start you would see him shuffling, mumbling towards us, right? And he always had his hands out like that, and we would take off running away from him because we were so scared of him because we had heard that he had died and that my grandmother had brought him back. But I don't know, I don't know what the story was on that, but I'm pretty sure he messed himself up pretty bad when he shot himself in the head. And back then, medical care or whatever, it was probably all messed up. But anyway, to us, he looked like he was the living dead walking around, and I remember nobody took care of him, nobody took care of him. And my grandmother would just, she would say things to him because he would I guess mumble things to her, and she would know what he was talking about, and she would just brush him off, but I really, like I said, I still don't know exactly what happened to my grandmother or anything, so I'm trying to find out all those stories. And I plan to go and see my aunt, who is one of her daughters, to get more, not the aunt that has the book, the sister of her, to find out a little more information about, my grandmother, about that particular story and some other stories. And so I just thought that was super crazy, right? Like, you know, but anyway, so I have another story. Okay, so because since some of these stories are kind of short, I'll do like 2 stories in one. Okay, so the other story was that my grandmother, of course, she was like the town witch. She did all kinds of spells and stuff for people. You know, she would have her own little clients. They would come over, and she would take them into her little witchy room and, you know, do whatever. That's how she made money, right? And so, I'm sorry if I'm slurping that coffee, but it's so good. Anyway, so she used to help people. Okay, so my aunt, not the one that has the book, my other aunt, she was telling me that, and then also my mother told me this, and a few other people, you know, told me this story as well. People who knew my grandmother told me that she used to help people sell their souls. I know it sounds crazy, but she, they said in her book, she would tell, like, say for example, she said that they said that people would come to her and tell her that they want money, they want women, or they want whatever, wealth, success, whatever it is that they wanted. And so she would tell them that they would have to sell their soul to the devil, and if they wanted to have all the things that they wanted, and that's so she could help them. So she would tell them what to do and what time to come, and then they would go out to a crossroad, you know, and she would take her book of shadows with her. And when she was there, she would say something, you know, in the crossroads, and then she would tell that person that a person or something is going to come to you in a form of a black object. It could be a black cat, a black dog, a black bird, a black image of a person, not an African American person, but like an image of someone that's all completely black. You know, like some form of thing in a black, or like an owl or something, you know, something. And so, and I think I heard one of them said that it was always a form of a dog, but I'm not really sure about that. So anyway, she would do that, and she would leave them, and she, you know, she would tell them, when this thing comes, make sure you let them know what you want, and they're gonna have, they're gonna come with something that you need to sign, and you're gonna sign it in blood. And so, in her book, she has this in her book. I've never seen it, but I've heard that it's in her book. You know, what you have to do and all the instructions, right? And so, according to them, that this would happen, and all of a sudden, this person who was, you know, didn't have anything, all of a sudden started having stuff. Now, my mom told me that when they were in Seguin one time, you know, she was asking my grandmother about this, you know, do you do this? Do you help, you know, people do this? Because, you know, she was curious, you know. And this was my mother's mother-in-law, okay? So my grandmother on my father's side. And she said, yeah, this is what she did. And so she says, let's go for a walk. I'm going to show you something. And so they went walking, and they came upon this house, like this little, you know, shack of a house or whatever. And my mom said that the house was all unkept, and like nobody had touched it. The grass was all overgrown, like it was totally abandoned. And so she says, they walked up to the house, and she said that they looked inside the windows, and they saw a big scorch mark on the floor, like in the middle, like I said, the living room or something. They saw a big scorch mark, almost like if there was a fire. And she said that on the 4 walls there was also like burnt marks, but there was also huge claw marks, and there was like it was dried blood. You know, you guys know what dried blood looks like if you've seen it on TV, or you've seen it somewhere where it looks like it's almost black, but you can tell that it's dried blood. But she said by that time it had, you know, you could barely even see it. But my mom said she could see the stains, you know, on the wood. And so she said that she goes, what happened? You know, and the doors were boarded up and stuff, you know, so nobody can go in there. But the house was just like everything was still there. Like someone had just literally up and left. And my grandmother told my mom that she helped that man. That man had came to her and told her that he wanted money, and he wanted money, and he wanted success and wealth. Someone said that he was our uncle, not like like our great uncle. I'm not really sure about that. I'm not really sure about that at all. That's just a version of someone that told me that it was a relative. Anyway, I really hope it's not, because I really hope my grandmother didn't send somebody to hell, you know, a relative, you know. But anyway, so she said that she had helped this person sell their soul to the devil. She said that he came to her and she told him exactly what was going to happen. She said, you're going to have some wealth, but that he can come and collect your soul anytime. They say 7 years, but it could be 7 weeks. It could be in 7 days. It could, you know, be in 7 months. You know, there's no telling when. It doesn't have to be like 7. She was just trying to explain that he can come anytime, because he's a devil. It's not like he's going to keep his word, right? So she said that he didn't care. You know, he was tired of being poor. He wanted money. And so she took him and told him what to do and left him there. And she said soon after, you know, he started coming around with, you know, flashy cars and money, and he had money. He had money, and he was showing it around, and so people kind of already knew what he had did, right? But they were thinking that's what he did. At least the ones that knew that he could have done that, like, you know, friends and stuff that he had kind of talked to about this. And so anyway, so some time passed, and my mom said that my grandma told her that one night someone came looking and saying, hey, do you know what happened to so-and-so? We can't find him anywhere. And so she told him, oh, well, the devil came to get him. And they were like, you know, they didn't know what, you know, what that meant, you know. And so I guess soon after, my grandmother went to the house and she saw everything that happened. And she had confirmed, you know, like, I guess to whoever she was talking to, that the devil had came to get him. And so my mom was just like, oh my gosh, you know, and she's like, I never thought that those stories were true. She says, until, you know, she took me and showed me, you know, what had happened. And she had told her a bunch of other stuff, like as far as other people that she has helped. But that she always tells them, you know, what's going to happen, the consequences of this happening to him. So anyway, I thought that was pretty, I thought that was a very sad but awesome story, you know, because if you read any of the hoodoo or voodoo, not really the voodoo, but hoodoo books, excuse me, and you hear a lot of the stories of people who sold their soul to the devil, and you watch documentaries of people who've talked about this, or at least I do, and really, it's just really amazing to know that it's almost like when you are a ghost hunter and you were searching for a ghost, and all of a sudden you find proof, and you're like, oh my gosh, you know, and as scary as it is, you're like really like, whoa, this really exists, you know. And so I just thought that was crazy, that my grandmother was like right in the middle of all this. But in her book, the directions on how to do that, and I don't know what else, you know, was there in there on that. I do have another story about someone calling the devil, but I guess I'll wait and do that for another story, because that doesn't have anything to do with my grandmother. It's just another story that a friend of mine told me that she knows that it exists. But anyway, so I hope you like these 2 stories. I do have more, and like I said, I'm sorry that my stories don't have more details, you know. That's one of the reasons that I had not made any stories yet, because I'm still trying to find out details. And for some reason, it's like a lot of the people in my family are just like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. You know, like, it's crazy. Like, what do you think's going to happen by them talking about it, you know? But anyway, I'm trying to find out more stories. And my mom is going to come and visit with me. And so she's going to come and stay, hopefully, if I can get her over here. Come and stay. And then I could ask her more questions. Sorry, I'm putting lotion on. Anyway, and see what else she can, if she can fill in some of those gaps. If I do have more information on these particular stories that I just told you, I will tell you more. So, I mean, I'll like give you an update on it. But the other stories that I have are kind of like that, like bits and pieces. And so I hope that that's okay, because that's all that I have for now. Because I know some of y'all want to know some of the stories. And so anyway, so if y'all think that these are cuckoo stories and, you know, you're like, oh, this is bullshit, nothing to, please don't leave me hateful comments, because I'm only telling you what I've heard. Am I saying that this is 100% accurate, that this really happened? I don't know. This is only what I've heard. And again, this is my grandmother who has passed on. So by you saying something ugly or mean, or it's just really putting shame on my grandmother, and I'm not going to go for that. I just, that's, like I said, these are just stories, and some are true and some I don't know. But like I said, I'm just kind of letting y'all know what I know. So okay, guys, I do have a few other stories, but I'm gonna wait to see how these stories go first, because like I said, I really don't want people saying ugly things about my grandmother, because she has passed on, and I don't care what people say to me, but I'm not gonna have somebody, you know, say something bad about my grandma, because that's my grandma. Y'all have some respect. So we'll just see where we go from here, because the other story I want to tell you is super cuckoo, but it's something that I heard. So I just wanted to, you know, let y'all know. I love stories like that. You know, you hear from your ancestors or from other people. I really love it. So I think I'll end this video, and I'll make the video talking about my friend and her experience with the crossroads, or, you know, calling the devil. All right, guys, as always, love y'all. Blessed be. Bye.